guys, Russ from Moshville Times here. I'm with Boone and Dale from OTIS. How's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, I can't complain. So the band's just released a new single. What can you tell us about it?
Our new single, Last Fool of the Line, just came out a little over a week ago, and just kind of a swampy, bluesy, soulful rock tune.
And it's quite story based about like the kind of hard luck guy. Is that based on any particular person, or is it an amalgamation of different people you've known?
Kind of an amalgamation of different people I've known, and probably a little bit of myself in there, and the other guys in the band as well. But yeah, getting out to do what we do and getting a tour puts you around some really interesting people. And it's just kind of like some of the most interesting stories I've heard have been, out in the smoking section of a venue or maybe in a back alley of a bar. And it's just like, man, these stories are unbelievable. They're stranger than fiction. So we wanted to put a little bit of that into our music.
Right. So it took 7 years to get this single from the last time you put out any material. What was the reason for such a gap between it?
Man, it's been kind of a crazy journey. Like we were full steam ahead, 2019, 2020. Then the pandemic hit, and two of the guys in the band, one wanted to stay home and the other wanted to be in an active rock band. So we're like, all right. And myself, I had thyroid cancer, so I had to
Oh,
deal with that, get my thyroid removed, take some radiation, and it took me about a year to get over that. And then once I got the green light health wise, we found Alex on guitar first, and then we found Dale, and we've got a much better band than we had in the beginning. So it's been really a blessing, and the other two guys really did us a favor by letting us get the proper lineup of the band.
you get anything to add to that there, Dale?
Man, I'm just really glad to be in this lineup. Uh, Me and Alex were both locally because we would always hear about Headhunters and some of our favorite bands locally. Otis was one of them. Be able to come in and be a part of that, it's just really, I'm glad to be able to do it.
Yeah, brilliant. So you also released a cover of Betty Harris's "There's a Break in the Road." Was there any particular reason for that artist in that song?
Man, I'd found Betty Harris on a New Orleans soul compilation that I bought at a record store for $1, and it sat in my room where my record player is for about a year. And like one day I just decided to go play it, and I'm like, man, this is amazing stuff right here. And just like the message in the song really spoke to me, and the way that the band played kind of reminded me of the way we play, because it's real loose and there's room to breathe, and it's soulful. And I was like, you know what, we could probably do a pretty fair version of this. So I took it into the guys, and they were like, yeah, let's do it. So here, we kicked it out there, and we love Betty Harris and love the original version. So decided to turn some new people onto the song, and it was a great way for us to start releasing new music again.
Nice. So was that a deliberate choice then to pick something that is less obvious by a less obvious artist and obviously a less obvious song? Is there any other songs you'd like to cover, or do you have any other covers in your repertoire?
Oh man, there's so many cover songs that we would love to take a stab at and release. With this one, we wanted to pick something that was under the radar, something that we felt like deserved some more attention. And it took me 30 years to discover Betty Harris, and I should have knew about Betty Harris as a teenager. She should be just as well known in New Orleans soul as Dr. John or the Meters or anybody else. But music has to have a host. If you're a teenager today, you're probably not going to discover Muddy Waters and John Lee Hooker right away, but your buddy might know about it, and he might say, hey man, you really need to check out John Lee Hooker. So that's kind of how the whole music thing works. But then there's so many old blues songs we would love to cover. We've been we've been doing the old Junior Wells tune, Snatch It Back and Hold It. We've been doing that in our live set some. That was actually Dale's idea. And we do a fair amount of blues covers, and we'll do an Allman Brothers song once in a while, mostly because we're preparing to play the Georgia Allman Brothers Band Association Festival this fall. So we're trying, getting some of that music in our repertoire as we get closer to that.
Yeah. So you've probably been asked this a load of times, but where does the band name actually come from?
Man, Greg Martin, the guitar player in the Kentucky Headhunters, actually named the band. There was a blues rock band in the 70s that was three-piece in Louisville, and they were named OTIS, but they never really took off. They only played locally, but they made a big impact on Greg, and he always remembered the name. He's like, man, you guys should take that name and try to do something with it. So we took and ran with it, and it's been great. It looks good on a poster, the t-shirt. People seem to remember it. It's just four letters, but the downside of it is sometimes it's hard to distinguish our band from like Otis Rush and Otis Clay and Otis Redding and some of the other Otises out there.
Yeah. So what's it like to meet Billy Gibbons?
Oh, it's great, man. He's really one of my favorite people, and to get to know him is really amazing. He's kind of in his own universe, but at the same time, he's just as interested in you as you are interested in him. And he's been able to teach us so much, turn us on to some old blues music and tricks to setting amplifiers. And Billy's great, and we're very grateful for him, going to bat for us and mentioning us in interviews and giving us press quotes. And obviously he's a hero to everybody in the band. Our drummer Dale there knows every word to the ZZ Top song, a pork chop sandwich. So we love us some ZZ Top.
So if Frank Beard ever gets ill, Dale can step in, yeah.
He could do it, man. Dale can do a mean Frank Beard.
No, Frank's the king now.
So obviously, like talking about ZZ Top, you've toured with Kentucky Headhunters, Blackberry Smoke. Is it even possible to pick a favorite from touring with those kinds of names?
Oh man, it's hard to pick because every time you open for a band, it's a different experience, and you get to play for a different audience, different venue. But probably our favorite to play with is probably the Kentucky Headhunters, because we're like family with them. I've known Richard, Fred, Greg, and Doug since I was just a little whippersnapper, man. There's a picture somewhere of Richard hold me when I was a baby. So that's how long I've known these guys. So to get out on the road with them and make some music, and the brotherhood is really fun.
Yeah. What about yourself, Dale? Who's been your highlights tour with?
I think the most recent shows we've done with Jackal have been pretty great, because my father is actually really, really into like 80s rock, 80s hair metal type stuff. I remember showing me Jackal when I was young. And so when I doing shows with them, that was really cool to be able to hang out with those do shows, and their crowd's great. I think that's probably.
So if Jackal's quite 80s hair metal, how does that kind of translate with the Southern rock stuff?
Better than you'd think. It's like one of those things where it's we're bluesy enough to not be straight up Southern rock. So we've got different kinds of elements in our music that translate well to whatever we could be opening for or supporting.
Yeah. So obviously you've had a couple of new songs out after a bit of a break. What's next for the band then?
Man, we got a few tricks up our sleeve. We're definitely going to be releasing some more music, but our ultimate goal is to put out a full-length release, because that's the way we like to listen to music, is an album form. But you're probably going to hear some more singles from us. We also got some live stuff in our back pocket that we may release a live track as a single in the future. But yeah, we're working hard on that goal of releasing another album.
Brilliant. I look forward to hearing it. Well, thank you very much for your time, guys. Hopefully catch you over here sometime soon.
We'd love that, man. We'd
Yeah,
love
it'd be
it.
amazing.